Welcome to a special hashtag OTA before dark. This is Cory and this is the O The Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. Welcome to episode 225 of the O The Anthem podcast, broadcasting to you from the hashtag OTA LA studios, high above the 110 freeway in beautiful downtown Los Angeles, California. Thank you for joining us. Yes, a special episode where we are not doing it on Monday night, but back to the afternoons of the weekend.
Yeah.
For the podcast. So,
Yeah, it's a brave new world. It's having to pull the covers so that the light doesn't interfere with our green screen setup and everything like that.
Very weird. Very weird.
I know, it's hard to believe this isn't a live view of Los Angeles at the moment.
Yes, the darkened city behind us is not actually live.
Yeah, the Wilshire Grand is not gold in honor of Jonathan Gold.
And I was gonna say it's 5:50. Yeah, it's 2:52 Pacific. That makes it 5:52 Eastern time.
So it's probably not even dark where you're watching us.
No, absolutely.
Unless you're watching us in merry old England.
Yes, it would be. Yeah. But anyway, thank you for joining us. Of course, you are watching right now, hopefully live on Facebook at facebook.com/O The Anthem. You can, of course, see all the live videos there, as well as posts and updates. Make sure that you click the little bell that lets you know when we're going live, and you can come in and be part of the show. You can comment on the actual video itself, or text the listener line, 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595. And that line remains open all week long. So you can actually, no matter when you listen, come in and let us know what you think. Of course, make sure you're following along on Twitter and Instagram as well, at O The Anthem, on those two social media sites.
Yep.
So.
And just in case you aren't listening live on Facebook and you're doing it on your podcatcher of choice, be sure to rate if possible, if on your Apple Podcasts, or if at the very least, just tell everyone you listen to it and be like, "Oh, this is the podcast I listen to all the time. You should listen to it too." Because I feel like that's the way that I get most of my podcasts now. Is like, I'm on set and somebody's just like, "Oh, I'm listening to this great new podcast." I'm like, "What is it?" So be that person who says, "Oh, the anthem."
Some of us have time to do that. Some of us do not. Unfortunately.
Listen, you could tell the Catch Me Outside girl all about it.
Yes, that's what I'll make sure I'll do. The Catch Me Outside girl.
Andrea Brignolio or whatever.
Danielle Brigoli.
Yeah, that's a name.
Yep, it is a name. The one I said. Anyway, so I wanted to start off this week with what you've been up to over the past few days, because you had an opportunity to do a lot of shooting this week.
Yes. I was going to start with what you were up to.
No, go ahead. No, I'm jumping in.
You want to lead the way? You want me to lead?
Ahead.
Okay,
yeah.
Fine. So, for the last couple weeks, I've been stirring impatiently, wanting to make something. So, with the My Rode Reel competition coming up, which Rode is a Australian microphone company, which I buy a lot of stuff from.
I was going to say, yeah. It's something you use a lot.
Rode is one of my favorite audio companies. I have decided that I was going to make a short film and enter it into the My Rode Reel competition, which gives the winner of several categories a great prize package. So I brought Roberto into it. I brought Katia into it, two of our good actor friends. Roberto, you've seen on the podcast before.
Yes.
And I've also brought Carly into it.
Yes.
Beloved dog of Roxy.
And I said that maybe that was a mistake at the beginning.
Yeah.
When I first read the script, and I was like, you know what they say, the two things you don't want to work with, dogs and kids.
Yeah.
Because it makes everything more difficult.
And I'll say this. It's tough because while Carly is a very well-behaved dog, not a very well-trained dog.
Oh. Shots fired.
That's not a shots fired. I'm saying like the dogs that you would normally get on a set if you had like a trained dog on a film set would be the type of one that you can just yell at and they'll do. It's like, go sit on the couch, go sit on the couch. And the dog will be like, okay, I know the keyword couch. And they've trained me like right before the shoot to know what I mean when I say couch, so that the dog will just run up and sit on the couch. I can't do that with Carly because I didn't have the time to train her how to do the couch bit.
Right. And her mother has done such a horrible job of training her.
See, that's not what I'm talking about. She will listen to commands if you're like saying it, like if you're like sit, she'll sit.
Okay.
You know, that's all well taken care of. The film animals are trained in a very specific way. Carly was not trained in that specific way, but patience. That's all I needed was patience. I had plenty of time to shoot. I was doing it on my own schedule. I didn't have to worry about slowing down production. So I was able to take the little bit of extra time, and it worked out pretty well.
Yeah. You said the longest shot was the one, which people will see at some point, her head popping up above the couch.
Yeah.
How did you even do that?
I laid down behind the couch, and I threw her toy over the couch.
Okay.
And then she just popped up, and I just kept doing it until she did it in front of the camera.
All right. Well,
that's how I managed that
movie
one.
secrets.
Yeah. But to quickly bring it around, the My Road Reel competition is due on the 31st.
Right.
So I'm going to be releasing this thing this week. Everyone can see it, especially in addition, a behind the scenes little talk about the short, if you wanted to see that as well.
Now, and is
all
this a
that'll be
competition
shared on the Cory Baker Filmmaker page.
Is this a competition that you submit to, or that you're posting it on YouTube and that they are finding it there?
No, so you post it on YouTube and then you submit it.
Okay, with the address, with like, hey, go find it here. Right. All right.
In addition, there's another contest that has a similar sort of thing with it's through Filmstro, who's a music company where you get to use a piece of music in your short from their catalog, and then it's the same sort of thing, like a big, huge prize pack of a whole bunch of goodies. In addition to that, after I've submitted for that one, I'm going to release the full director's cut, if you will. Basically what happened was I came up with the story, we shot it, and then I put together the skeleton cut, the edit, where it's just like, here's all the pieces I've shot in order. Let's see how long. And
by pieces, not like every single cut of this scene, but the cut that you'd like to use.
Right.
Scene. Yeah.
Like this is effectively like the cut or the action to cut version of every scene that I've chosen that I'm going to use in the final thing.
It will never get longer than this.
It will never get longer than this,
yes.
And it was like about 10 minutes. So, and it's supposed to be 3 for the My Road Reel and 5 for the Filmstro. So
I don't know if there is any other fact that would accurately portray your directing as that. You're writing, the writing and the directing.
I like the Kevin Smith line. It's like I overcompensated because I grew up fat. But no, this week the My Road Reel version will be out. Mm-hmm. It'll be slightly different in story from the director's cut version
because it's hard to tell a 10-minute and a 3-minute story in the same way.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, dog. All right, cut to.
Unless I just did the whole thing like voiceover, like the whole, just like did like all the, like up front, I'm just like, this is a story about a boy. a boy found a dog. What you didn't see up until this point was this. And now to the story.
And, what was it? Paul Harvey. And now the rest of the story.
So yes, if you are interested in seeing my latest work, that'll be online on my YouTube page and on the Facebook page and the Twitter and everything. So go check that out. I'll have links and we'll share it on the O The Anthem stuff too. So you can see it there as well.
But that was only the first half of your week. Now.
Hold on, but let's split this up a little.
Oh,
bit.
what?
You go with your part next.
Okay,
and then I'll finish up.
All right. So
seeing as I got 2 and you got 1.
Well, I mean, other than the job that I have to consistently go to every single day, where I manage a staff of 50 and keep a business running and all of those things.
Meanwhile, I'm a department of 1.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah. Anyway, so I mentioned it a little offhandedly, I guess, last week, but I instantly realized that I forgot what the link is. I think it's Wattpad.com. So there is a website that somebody let me know about. It was like in a community, on like a community page of Facebook or or something like that, maybe in Twitter, that it was just basically talking about how do you get your stories out there? How are you helping people find you? And one thing that I had talked about before was putting out something for free on Amazon just to have people read it. But then I learned about Wattpad, which is just basically a website full of stories. It's Amazon, but without the need for like a Kindle, because you can just basically read on your desktop or
just like download a PDF or something like that.
You can download a PDF, but actually they have an app for iPad and for like the Galaxy that will automatically format your writing into pages.
Oh,
so
nice.
You flip through it as if it's a book, even though when you write it on here, you write it as it's
just like a long
form. Yeah. So, it just one of the good things about this website is it allows people to make comments as you write along. So one of the things that I've started working on is a bit of YA fiction, and I've never worked on anything like that before, so I thought it would be interesting to just like post little bits and pieces and see if people had comments or, like this doesn't seem like it's going in the vein of a YA book, and maybe you should think about doing that. So like there's a huge community. But right now, parts 1 and 2 and 3, I believe, of The Chair, which is a previously unpublished book, are up there. And I've gotten 16 views in the last week or so. Yeah, so that's not bad. So that's 16 new people who have seen something and haven't read my writing before. So, and I think that's 16 unique, meaning that they may have read all 3 published portions, but I only get credit for one person who viewed.
Right.
So, over the next few days, about every 2 days, I drop a new section. There's 6 total sections. I feel like, 3 thus far. So the new one will be coming out today. So a new part will be coming out today. Total of 6. Part 6 will be up on Thursday. So
nice.
Make sure you check that out. It's just again a way that I could try to reach out and so that people can see more of the writing and get exposed to it. And of course, all the other books are still available on Amazon.
Yeah, and I was because you hadn't told me about this before you had talked about it on the podcast.
Oh, yeah. I just literally found it the day before.
Right. So I was a little bit confused about exactly what it was until you told me like it was like a free place to read, essentially.
Yeah.
And I was just like, is this a new service? Is this a new Patreon or something like that? But it's completely free to check out. So,
absolutely. Yeah. And basically you can comment, you can upvote. It's like Reddit, but for stories. And there is like these... there are the victory stories of the people who are like, oh, I got a full writing gig from people reading my stories on here. And then there are the other ones who are like, oh, I remain Waddy independent. I only write for free on Waddy. But if you'd like, you can support me on Patreon and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I just, there's like a whole ecology. Yeah, it's a community going on this website. But if you just want to read something that's... hasn't been read before, you can feel free to find it on there for free. So
nice.
Not bad at all.
We'll put that on the show notes in case people want to go check that out.
Absolutely. So here, and the thing I want to get to, the one person of us who is, doing something good for the world, Cory, has something big going on this week. Tell us about it.
All right. So last thing I worked on yesterday was a charity event for a group called Kids in the Spotlight. A cinematographer friend of mine, Max, reached out to me to see if I was available yesterday. And basically what it is it allows foster kids, it puts foster kids in touch with writing and acting teachers, and they teach them how to make a short film. And then yesterday, they shoot the short film where they star in it, and they have a professional crew help make the thing come to life.
Well,
so
a professional crew.
Well,
Cory was working.
Everyone except for the sound guy, I guess.
Those poor kids.
No, but it's really cool because it's. I mean, I thought that all the kids did a really bang up job as far as like bringing their story to life, and it's fun to be on a set where the stakes don't seem as high, I guess.
Right.
Where it's clearly that you're there for like trying to have fun with the kids and trying to like make things better, like try and lift their spirits a bit.
Cory has been saying for months how he really wanted to reach out and touch some children.
Oh my God, please don't. Not these days. Not these days. That will not be read as a... yeah.
Anyway, just kidding.
Yeah.
He's looking to give back.
I was really happy to be a part though, because I for as long as I've had film aspirations, I've also had the hope that one day I would be able to like come back to Baltimore and have a place where people who don't have the opportunity to learn or use equipment or make a story themselves would have the opportunity to get hands-on advice and teaching from people who know what they were doing. I'd always talked about this, like, I'm going to buy the Mayfair and I'm going to put everybody in there and let them see what a camera's like and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
And I think that this is very much in a similar vein. The teenagers yesterday had just got put into foster care from a child sex ring. So it was nice to be able to do something that was light and fun and let them like have a fun day of filming. Like,
yeah.
You know, it's hard to explain to people who haven't ever worked in film, like how high stress it can be when you're like in the middle of the day, because you're trying to get all your shots. You're trying to obviously do everything as perfectly as you can. But when the stakes are a little bit lower, you know, obviously you're trying to make the best thing you can for the kids, but you're trying to give them the experience of like having fun on set.
And their experience is having fun doing the thing, less about what the final product is.
I mean, like, I don't think any of them expect that they're going to be Sir Laurence Olivier when the whole thing's done. But
did anybody try to do a 19-minute long pull shot while somebody rode up on a camel? Was that
no?
Okay,
no, there were no camels.
Yeah.
There was going to be a camel, and then I said, no, listen, I worked with the animal the other day. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
Not worth it.
It takes forever.
You got to throw toys over couches. It's the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really happy and excited to be a part of it. I'm looking forward to, there's apparently a big gala event at the end of it all when all the projects are edited. And they give out awards to the kids and stuff like that.
Very nice.
Ty Burrell is like a big supporter of the thing. So
is he the Houses?
No, Modern Family.
Ty Burrell. Who is he from?
He's. See, I don't watch Modern Family, so I don't know the character he plays.
So he's not.
He's not Ed O'Neill.
Not Ed O'Neill. I know he's not Ed O'Neill.
Not Sofia Vergara.
Yeah.
Not. Hold on.
We're investigating.
I don't want to say. Like,
oh, he's the dad.
Yeah.
He's the dad. How would you not know who the dad is?
I would have thought Ed O'Neill would have been the dad.
No, well, he's the grandfather.
Oh, okay.
In this intergenerational. Julie Bowen plays his wife. Ed O'Neill plays his father-in-law. Jesse Tyler Ferguson plays his brother-in-law. Eric Stonestreet plays the husband of his brother-in-law.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you not know all of these well-known American actors?
Because I never watch them. Modern Family, I guess, is my answer for that. But yeah, so really happy to be a part of that. Looking forward to seeing all the final products. I think that I heard that it's going to happen at Sony this year, which is another great. So all the studios sort of take turns like playing a part in this too.
Yeah.
So what happened yesterday was CBS donated like a 10-ton grip truck.
Okay.
And like basically just had so there were like 3 projects that were all being filmed at the same time. And CBS just you make a wish list of the things you want, and then CBS pulls from like their lights and their C-stands and all their gear like that.
Puts it on the
truck.
truck.
Then puts it on a truck and then sends it to us, and we get to use it all day.
Nice.
Pyrotechnics,
400 pounds, please.
I think it's things that like not disposable things.
Oh.
Yeah, like the things they can use again. Like you bring them back. Yeah, but apparently,
I need
like
700,000 squibs. I've got something dark I'm trying to get done here.
So, anywho, all the studios like apparently like take turns like hosting the event, the premiere event, and hosting giving out equipment and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's a nice community effort and a really good cause. So if you're listening to this and you're looking for a good cause to donate a little bit of money to, Kids in the Spotlight, I would highly recommend it. It was a wonderful experience, and like it's charity, so I didn't get paid for it, but it was I'm not like Betsy DeVos with my 10 yachts or anything like that, but I've lived a pretty good life, and I feel like it's important to go out and do good work from time to time, and this was a opportunity for me to do something that I feel really helped people. So
well, and also unlike your Protestant brethren, you Catholics can only get into heaven with faith and good works.
yes,
I mean, just faith alone for the Protestants, but those good works are what get you all the time, every time. So you got to make sure you put in those good works.
exactly. So
Just when you think it's selfless, don't think it's selfless.
just doing it for a ticket to heaven.
He's looking out for person numero uno himself, just trying to get that one-way ticket to heaven.
You found me out. That's I'm trying to do enough good works to make up for the premarital sex.
Luckily, that doesn't happen too often, so you're not going to make up for much. Anyway, yeah, no. So it is a good project, though. Obviously, we'll have the link in the show notes, so make sure you check that out if you'd like to donate. And if you're in the LA area, it's something that does it only run? It doesn't run once a year, though.
No, they
film
them like every couple months or something like that. I didn't get like all the details of exactly how they do this, but I know they said that there's another group that's going to be doing it in like September or something like that.
There's Cory for you. Doesn't ask too many questions. Just, oh yeah, I'm in, sure.
Well, no.
Okay.
I mean, like, see, part of the problem was I knew it was foster kids who are involved in this, but I don't know what the extent of why they're in foster care to begin with. So you don't want to say something like, like I'm very cognizant of the fact that I don't want to say anything that might trigger somebody.
Okay.
Especially if I know they're in a situation where, if I start talking about my dad and I find out that they're in foster care because their family died in a car accident or something like that, I'm going to feel like a real asshole.
Yeah.
So you avoid saying things and wait and hear and just listen. And that's when I heard about the story and I was just like, oh, God. Oh, these poor girls.
Was it all girls?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they were all like 13, 14, 15 years old. So, anywho.
Not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
But it's good to give back and good to give them a place to be kids. I'll tell you more about it as more information becomes available.
And there's no tasteful way to transfer, despite the fact that the current president of the United States may or may not have had parties that involve girls of that age himself.
I don't want to think about that so much right now.
And lots of cocaine. And he was doing this up until a few years before he ran for president, along with, what was the guy's name? The jet to the Caribbean islands.
Oh, I don't remember. It's all on the BBC.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Yeah, the guy who had the parties with the planes and Trump was his friend. What was his name?
Can't remember.
Yeah. You never remember the names of the scumbags.
Well, some of them you do.
Oh, I mean, I guess true. Yes. Yeah. Just not all of them.
Yeah.
There's too many of them.
You remember the scumbags that hurt you particularly.
Oh,
like Ursay, I know very well.
Yes.
Like that name's never going to burn out of my mind. But
and the lead singer of that band that you really like.
Oh, Ian Watkins?
Ian Watkins. Yeah.
Yeah, that was shitty.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Anywho.
Yeah.
On to Trump news.
On to Trump. That really horrible transition to the president.
We're not going to give you the Segway Man title, that's for sure.
No. So it's been, another week of Trump presidency. We're into week 50, 60, 70. I don't know.
We're about 18 months in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too much.
I just the thing I keep thinking about is that like new news breaks every single week. That seems like it would have been enough to bring down any other presidency.
Literally any other
up
presidency.
until this point. And the amount of people who are just like blindly putting their faith in the fact that this is all going to just work out for Trump in the end is like shocking to me.
I think I have come to the terms with the fact that a presidency cannot survive one really bad.
It'd be like, so back when we lived in Baltimore, we had some crackheads who were living with us too.
Oh yeah, no,
For a little
dope
while.
heads.
Dope head, yeah.
Yes, they're not crackheads. How dare you?
But it'd be like if I was like, I need a place to store all this cash before I can go to the bank tomorrow. Would you mind holding on to it for me? You dope heads?
Well, you'd be
Just
fine.
like, no, guys, I got you. I'll hold on to it for you. It's like, this is exactly what all the Republicans are doing with Trump. Like, oh, he's gonna take care of it. I asked him to do a favor for us. Like, clearly he's not going to hurt us in the end.
Technically, you'd be fine so long as it was between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. 4 a.m. is when the problem starts. Cause
Yeah.
that's when they're gonna, make.
That's when they're
their
gonna
way.
wake up.
Yeah. But this is an administration that has survived all thousands of controversies that would have brought down any one of them would have brought down another administration. And what I realized is it's the do you remember from Futurama where, or maybe it was Simpsons? It was Simpsons where they're talking about Mr. Burns and they're like, it's the Three Stooges effect where like if one of these
It's talking about like the diseases that were trying to kill him.
Yes. One of them would easily kill him. But because they're all happening at the same time, they're just jammed in the doorway like the Three Stooges.
Yeah.
I think that's what's happened. It's all of these things are happening and we just can't control it.
Well,
So-
I think the other problem is that like this we kind of talked about this last week or was it 2 weeks ago when we were talking about Vegas and Missouri and stuff like that.
those 2 weeks.
Yeah. Where we were talking about a story that I saw on CNN and you saw on Fox News, and we had completely different understandings of what had happened in the story. Apparently, so this week, the Michael Cohen's lawyer, who was also a lawyer for the Clintons, which is just another wonderful piece of like, this is just going to get worse than before it gets better, decided that they're going to release one of the secret tapes that was released, that was recorded between Trump and Cohen. And pretty much what we got is Cohen saying that Cohen and Trump admitting that Trump had slept with Karen McDougal, the Playboy playmate, and that Cohen was going to find a way to get the money to her to pay her off for her story.
And we're going to pay her in cash, right?
No. Yeah. That's by the way, that's just another one of those like Trump doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about kind of thing. Like he's not very good at the criminal acts that he's trying to. I mean, that's not really a criminal act in as much as like
It's the business thing,
he's
though.
trying to hide it.
I don't understand. Like, you think that that's something that a businessman would have had experience with before? Like when we're paying in advance to somebody. So what you're saying is before they comply at all, we're just going to go hand them a bag of cash. No, of course not, Donald. Why would we possibly do that? No.
I think Trump lives in the world where cash is untraceable.
Oh,
And-
that's it? Yeah.
And to a degree, cash is untraceable. I mean, like, if I wanted to buy something that is illegal, but I wanted to do it in cash and it costs $50, then yes, I could get away with that one. Hypothetically, you could
Sure.
a small number transaction could get lost in the shuffle.
Yes.
It could be harder to find.
Unless they are trying to connect you after the fact. And then it's like, oh, well, he took out $50. And
Yeah. Like every single cash or every single time he took cash out equaled a legal act that followed.
Yes. Yeah.
And we could track that cash equals transaction, cash equals
Yeah.
transaction, because he's never taking cash out other than when he's doing something illegal.
Which is in the small scale exactly how they prove that cash being used on the large scale is illegal.
Yeah, but I'm saying like you can't you can't give $150,000 in cash without some questions being asked.
Yeah.
It's just not how this works. So,
Well, sure you can, as long as they don't put it in the bank, which, you know.
put it in your mattress.
Yeah, I mean, like most people are going to go try to put it somewhere because they don't want to walk around with. What they don't want is you hiring some goon to come steal it back.
Yeah.
10 days later.
Right.
You know.
Out of your mattress,
so,
yeah.
And I don't know. I
mean, essentially how this worked was, this is what we know about the story so far. We know that the National Enquirer ran the story, bought the story from Karen McDougal, and then sat on it.
Right. The owner,
the owner of the National Enquirer and Trump have a very close relationship, and that, according to the Cohen tape, the CFO of Trump Enterprises was going to be the one who was going to work out the details of paying off the head of the National Enquirer to buy the story and squash it, which one could assume means that he was going to give money to the head of the National Enquirer to buy the story, plus a little bit extra, probably just to make it worth his while.
to facilitate, yeah.
And then to squash it. So that's essentially where we are now. Again, this is not a crime per se.
Yeah.
To do this, but it's also why would you? Like, it just seems like this is what I don't fucking get about Trump. Is like he could just let this story get out, and it would be terrible for him. But it almost is.
The cover-up's worse.
Yeah,
than the
it
crime.
would have gone past, because people already know that Trump cheats on his wives.
His
like,
wife knows that he cheats on his wife.
It's like, you're not hiding that from like anybody.
By the way, he cheated on his previous wife with you. I think you are aware that at some point he will cheat on you with someone else.
And the people who vote for him don't seem to care. Like the people, I'm amazed by the number of people who I know who are Trump voters who said, like, yeah, if I was rich and powerful like Trump, I'd probably have a whole bunch of women I slept with too. Isn't that the point of being rich and powerful? It's just like,
And I just like asked him, I'm like, but you're like the whole thing about abortion. Well, I mean, that's in the Bible. And the gays, that's in the Bible too. You know what else is in the Bible? Not fucking people who aren't your wife. I don't really know. It doesn't say, oh, wait, here it is. It's Leviticus 17:35. Unless you are a wealthy man, then you may bang
unless you're
whoever
Donald
you
Trump.
want, and then bang whoever you find attractive. Oh, well, certainly. Thank you. I just don't. You can't talk to Trumpers. It doesn't really matter. And apparently you also can't talk to Trump, because if you try to ask him questions, he's going to kick you out of the pool of media.
Yeah. Well, just one more thing on the cover up is worse than the crime thing. We're coming alarmingly close to Donald Trump Jr. probably spending a long period of time in jail,
Unless he rolls over on his father.
Does
he have any? Do you think he has something that justifies him getting no jail time? Come on. He has to have more dirt than anybody.
Yes, but
Not the dumb one. What's the dumb one's name?
Eric.
Yeah, Eric doesn't know shit. But Donald Trump Jr., he definitely has dirt.
He definitely does, but I it's like one of those, like, he was involved in all the dirt too.
So it's like one of those, because you make the deal for immunity, you roll over on the dad, and then you don't get any jail time.
Yeah, but I mean, like, usually when you're rolling over on somebody, you're like, I'm trying to get a drug charge lifted off of me, and I'm turning over on the guy who committed the murder. You know,
not necessarily. Sometimes
very,
it can be...
very rarely are you excusing one person of treason to get to another person with treason, especially when you can prove treason on both sides.
If you can prove it.
But see, like, here's the thing. Another part of this Cohen story was that he said that he was in the room before the meeting with the Russians to say that Trump knew about the meeting beforehand.
Yeah.
And then knew about the meeting after the meeting had taken place. And the timeline of events essentially here includes telephone records taken of Donald Trump Jr., where he was contacted about the meeting with Russian intelligence, who said that they had dirt on Hillary Clinton. He immediately called a blocked number that they do not have the rights to.
Yeah.
2 days later, Trump has a rally where he says, in 2 days' time, which would have been the day after the reported Trump-Russia meeting was going to happen with Manafort and Donald Trump Jr. and Jared Kushner, he was going to have a big event where he was going to talk about a whole bunch of dirt on Hillary Clinton. Okay. At which point, Ivanka, who is standing right behind him, goes like, what did he just say? Which is pretty funny to look at it in retrospect.
Now that we know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then the meeting happened between Manafort and Kushner and Donald Trump Jr. And immediately after that meeting took place, there was another call made to the same block number as before. So, and now Cohen saying that he was in the room when the conversation about the Russian dirt was being discussed with him initially. So it's all sort of coming together now. Also, there was a picture. Did you see the picture of Trump Jr. and Mueller?
No.
It so happens that earlier this week, Robert Mueller and Donald Trump Jr. were both waiting at the same gate at Dulles.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They were like right next to each other too. It was pretty funny.
Not talking to each other?
Not talking to each other, but it's hard to imagine that you wouldn't know that they were right there. Hold on.
So, again, there is a lot of circumstantial evidence here that points to Trump with treason. But if your son can roll over on you and give you certainty on treason, then do you give up the son to get the father? Do you give up the son to get the father?
Do I give up the son to get?
Yeah.
No, I'm just gonna make them all go to jail.
But what if you can't?
There's the picture, by the way.
I don't know that they know that each other's there. Mueller just kind of seems like he's minding his own business.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
Don Jr. looks very un-Trump-like.
Yeah.
In this particular picture.
Well, he looks like one of his voters with the camo hat.
I know, really. But do you give Trump Jr. immunity in order to get Trump for sure?
No.
Even if you might lose Trump.
Mueller has so much more than we know. If we know this piece of the information, including the blocked phone numbers, I'm sure Mueller has
what the blocked phone number
what the blocked phone number is.
Maybe.
I'm sure Mueller has. I mean, he's already gotten so many people involved in this web that there's no way that he doesn't have enough to basically. I mean, there had been talk about whether or not Trump Sr. and Mueller would sit down for a meeting to discuss all this, and the worry about there being a perjury trap set and everything like that. I don't think there's a perjury trap. I just think he knows he's got him.
Yeah.
And he's just trying to put all the ducks in a row. So the first question he asks, he's either going to get Donald Trump to commit perjury, or he's going to have the case by the end of the conversation. I mean, like, it's not.
Or he's going to have Trump stand up and march out.
I mean, that's fine too. But I mean, like, I feel like at this point, normally, if you were doing like a congressional investigation or something like that, you'd bring in all the character witnesses first, and then you bring in the person who is the subject of the investigation last, because then you have all the information set out before you,
right?
And then you would talk to the person that you're focusing the attention of your investigation on at the end, so you could use all the information from the beginning interviews in the final interview. And that's basically what it looks like. Mueller is basically just setting up for the time where he gets to interview Trump. And what comes of that?
And does it even matter?
Well, that's the other question. Because
100 days from the midterms, doesn't look as promising as it maybe once
Well,
did.
Democrats are eating their young, which happens every 10 or so years. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's the number one like, you know, I could talk till I'm blue in the face about how Dianne Feinstein doesn't care about your life, you know, like doesn't care about the average Democrat who she is supposed to be looking out for. And I could say vote for Kevin De Leon because he's looking out for the issues that matter more to you. But then there's just going to be a fight between the left and the far left Democrats, or the center left and the far left Democrats, who are arguing about what it means to be a Democrat.
Yeah.
There's no like winning this. That's the problem.
Yeah, no, there is winning this. The
re-
Republicans win this. That's the problem.
Realistically, the problem with American politics is that we've decided that we're only going to have two parties that we care about.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you look in like European countries where they have like 5 different versions of a right party, and there's the ones who are like the religious right party and the far right party and the alt-right party and the centrist right party and stuff like that. These are all different ideas. You know, there's enough room in there for you to align yourself with a party that sort of fits what you want.
Yeah, and I mean, even in an alt-right, you might find yourself an alt-right party.
Right.
Yeah, just like in America.
Well, see, the alt-right is lumped in with the center. Every Republican.
I'm just making sure you're in the midst. You're the only thing on camera right now. Is yours.
I'm saying this. The problem is that the say you're a centrist Republican and you're only in it because you want state deciding, you know, like state rights ideals, and you want to try and make sure that there's more of like a flat rate type of tax system or something like that. Like you sort of identify with more centrist Republican views.
So you hate poor people, you hate black people, right? Go ahead. But you don't want to be identified as being alt-right.
But you're not alt-right.
I mean, no.
But I'm
those
saying
two policies
all
say
these,
I
all
hate
these
poor
people
I hate
are
black
stuck
people.
inside the same general party. Is the problem? Is that I can't, if I'm identifying myself as a Republican, even if it is a centrist Republican, I'm still being led astray by the extreme right side of the party, which is filled with the alt-right and the Nazis and all those nonsense.
Controlling the party. They're
Not controlling the party.
They are.
They're not.
How are they not controlling the party?
The problem is that the
president controls the party. That is who he is. Otherwise, they would block his stuff.
It's not. See, but
they are about to put a Supreme Court justice on for life who hates black people and doesn't want them to vote. Who during his confirmation process handed down a decision that was controversial and against the Voting Rights Act. During his confirmation, he is so confident that it does not matter.
For the appellate court.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is so confident that it does not matter.
Yeah.
That he's just handing down decisions that Ruth Bader Ginsburg probably was just like, I say what? I just can't. He's so confident that it doesn't matter. That he can do whatever he wants and he's still going to get appointed. Because the Republicans control Congress. And the Republicans are Trump's party.
Yes, and the problem is that
well, there you go.
Well, no, I'm saying like what you're worried about if you're Trump is that you won with a very small, microscopically thin margin.
No, actually, you lost.
Well, he lost the popular vote,
yes.
but he won the Electoral College by 60,000 votes, essentially.
Which, by the way, is not how the Electoral College is supposed to work. It's supposed to protect you from people like Trump, not enforce the election of people like Trump.
Right. Anyway, besides that point. But I'm saying, like, Trump realizes that 60,000 votes could be 60,000 Nazis who, if you say these are terrible people and they deserve to be shot into the sun, will not come out and vote for you.
Now you're going to lose.
20,000 of those Nazis are living in Michigan, then you're done.
Yeah.
So he has to hold on to whatever brought him to the dance and not offend anyone who could potentially have voted for him or be voting for him. And that's his only strategy to win re-election. And he knows that the Republicans are going to cover for him because they're in the same boat as him.
You need
Whereas
to know.
Mitch McConnell knows that if he goes up there and like blasts all the Nazis, then maybe all the Nazis who voted for him are not going to come back and vote for him again. Or if McConnell says we're having Trump come in, he's going to sit in front of the Foreign Relations Committee in the Senate. He's going to answer questions until they're done with him. Then he's not going to do that because maybe part of his campaign is brought to you by Russian money or Russian influence or Russian hackers or any of these things. Nobody wants to rock the fucking boat. That's the problem.
Then you need to know.
What we need to do as the American citizenry is rock the motherfucking boat.
Except for you want to identify as a centrist Republican.
I don't want to identify.
You're a Republican.
I gave up my republicanism.
Just like the country.
I mean, I gave it up in name only because that's all it was in Maryland too.
Well, fair enough.
I mean, the realistic thing is that I tell people about what I stand for politically, and most of them understand it and to some degree agree, or can at least understand where I'm coming from with it.
I think you're in the wrong circles.
What do you mean?
Yeah, states' rights.
Yeah.
Which means I hate black people.
No, it doesn't mean I hate black.
Fair taxes.
It means that I want
states to be able to make the rules for themselves.
I would
which is a way of saying I hate black people and black people should be able to.
No, absolutely not.
That's what would you. Jim Crow was states' rights.
That's a different. That's an argument from 100 years ago.
Jim Crow is states' rights. They overcame states' rights by federal legislation that equalized everyone across borders.
I would rather a state by state basis be able to determine what is right for them as opposed to a federal government like education,
abortion.
Listen, if abortion becomes
gay rights, equality in marriage.
Listen, if Roe gets overturned, then it's going to be like that regardless because all these states have decided whether or not they want to have abortion as part of their standard operating procedure as a state. So, I mean, right now, if you live in Alabama, you have to travel to one of 2 abortion clinics to get your abortion done. Mm-hmm. You probably have to go there, go to an initial consultation, and then sit in a hotel room for 3 days until you can actually get the procedure done because you live in Alabama and because that's they've done everything they can to try and make Roe completely out of the question.
And this is you explaining why states' rights is against poor people and against people of color. You're literally explaining why states' rights arguments are against poor people and against people of color.
I'm not saying that. So you're taking one part of the downside of states' rights and
Give me an
making
upside. Give me an upside.
The upside is that look at Maryland, where we're from.
Okay.
If you are able to localize what the kids are being taught, then you are going to be able to have a better influence on the adults that they will become later. Because somebody who grew up in Baltimore City is not going to need the same sort of education that somebody who grew up in the Eastern Shore is.
Right.
There's going to be things that you can do on a local level that'll affect kids in a different way depending on where in the state you are. California is a wonderful example of this because it is the fucking largest state with the most different people and the most different types of communities all throughout. One plan does not help every single kid across California.
So your argument is that a child being born in South Central should be treated differently than a child born in Orange County and should have different access to education. They should be taught different things.
They shouldn't have different access to education, but there should be different
education for them.
No, there should be different ways in which in Baltimore City, they have people who go out and round up the kids to make sure that they show up to school for a certain number of days so that they can get funding. Sure. That is something that is based off of a state level Board of Education decision on how many kids have to show up every single year for them to get funding for each kid.
Sure.
In the Eastern Shore, they don't have to worry about that because the kids generally show up to school like they normally are supposed to.
That is a complete, and that's nonsense. Absolutely not. We
What?
have truancy officers just like they do in Baltimore.
Not the same as they do in Baltimore.
No, there's less of them.
Yeah.
Because there's less students.
Yeah.
They have each officer has to cover a wider area. So yes, they report to less schools looking for less students over a wider area.
Yes.
But it's the same issue. It's the same problem.
But I'm saying you don't think that there are differences in the way that you can teach and reach out to children to help them learn.
That has nothing to do with states' rights. What you're talking about is local control over education, which is something different than states' rights.
I want local control over government.
Okay, but that's local.
I want there to be
That's not state. That's local. Because what you're saying is that Caroline County, Maryland should be able to do something different than Baltimore City.
Yes.
That's local, not state. The state is saying, hey, we're Alabama. We don't like black people. So the federal government may make it okay for this to happen, but that's not okay here in our state.
When I'm talking about states' rights, I'm obviously talking about a state being able to come together and decide on their own what works for their specific locality.
And in their locality, people of color are lesser.
Therefore,
they don't get citizens'
If you treated
rights.
every single county and every single state the same way you do every single state in the country, then the better off everybody would be.
Except for if we find an average, then the likelihood that it applies at least somewhat to the kids.
Listen,
there.
I'm not saying that.
You're looking at education, which is the one thing that states' rights may somewhat apply to. Let's look at anything else. The right to marry who you want. Should that be a states' rights issue?
I mean, the right to allow for whether or not the marriage should happen is already happening at a state level.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, the federal government, through the Supreme Court, has said marriage is not defined between a man and a woman. It is defined as two consenting adults.
Yeah,
that is it.
That is answering the question as to whether or not, if you got married in a state where gay marriage was allowed, whether or not they had to recognize it in a state where it wasn't.
No.
So if you got married in California, if you had a gay marriage in California, and then you decided to move to Alabama, could Alabama not respect your marriage because it happened in a state where
it's
gay
legal.
marriage is legal?
Yes.
And the Supreme Court said that marriage, like gay marriage, like straight marriage, has to be accepted in every single state because whether or not Alabama allows for gays to get married, it has to respect the fact that California said it was okay for these two people to be.
Equal protection
Yes.
clause. Yes.
That was the issue. It wasn't about whether or not Alabama has to allow gay marriage, because Alabama, just like the abortion debate that we were talking about, Alabama is allowed to decide whatever the fuck it wants to do to make it more difficult for people who are trying. I mean, this is what we were talking about with Kim Davis way back when in the fucking day.
I remember
when when Kentucky said
she refused
start giving out marriage licenses, which was only like 3 fucking years ago or something like that. Yeah. How long has Vermont or California been
backwards ass people being in charge of this? States' rights is a message of saying, I don't care about endangered groups, I don't care about people of color, and I don't care about the poor.
So here's the thing. We have a lot of fucked up laws across a lot of states. And the only way that we start getting animated about fixing these things is by making them an issue. So if you want to say something like have a Supreme Court decision that says that all marriage should be recognized equally regardless of whether or not it's straight or gay, fine. We have come to a decision on the court level that makes this right. Now, Kim Davis, who is refusing to hand out marriage licenses, becomes a national issue. And now Kentucky has to deal with that fucking issue.
Okay.
Because everybody is talking about how this one woman is going rogue.
Except for you're arguing against yourself. You're saying that you want the state to be able to determine that.
They can't override a. Listen, I'm not talking about every single state.
Do you understand what states' rights means?
Yes,
it means the federal government can't override them. You're making an argument that says let the federal government put in a rule and then
no.
No.
There's federal laws, there's state laws, there's local laws, right?
Oh my God! Do you know what states' rightsism is? It's saying remove the federal level. Let the states
not
determine
remove
things.
the federal. There's a very small percentage of kooky, completely unrecognizable political thinkers who think that we should completely remove the federal government from
states'
the
rights
argument.
Says if the state and the federal government are at odds, that the state wins when it comes to applying the law to their local people.
What you're talking about when you're talking about a state's rights versus a federal system is the degree in which we are going to go forward with it, not the fact that it's like. So you're pro-choice, right?
Sure.
Are you okay with a abortion taking place if you find out that you're having a girl and you wanted a boy? Are you okay with that?
It is not for me to choose.
Right, but I'm saying, like, just in your gut, does that feel right to you?
Not for me to choose. I'll never have to make that decision.
No. I'm not saying whether or not you would have to hypothetically make this decision, but I'm saying, like,
will never have to make the decision to terminate a pregnancy. Therefore, it is none of my opinion about whether or not someone should or should not choose to end a pregnancy based on that.
Wouldn't somebody who has voted you into office to fight for your rights expect you to make some sort of decision?
Okay,
based off
here's
this?
my decision. That women should have the right to choose what to do with their body no matter what that decision is.
Okay.
Just like I can choose to do whatever I want to do with my own body in every way.
Yes. But I'm saying at some point there has to be a thing where you say, this is a step too far.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
You're not, you can't. So this is what I'm talking about. If the federal government makes a law that has many different variants and many different specific issues that individual communities or individual states want to do differently, as long as it isn't in violation of an overall federal law, then they should be allowed. That should be up for discussion, is what I'm talking about.
So again, a person has differing rights depending on where they live inside a country.
It's not differing rights. It's
do.
differing
No.
laws.
They
If
have
you're gonna talk about laws being different rights, then yes, that's
Right,
how it
so-
is right now. That's how it's been for the entire history of this country.
Except for that we are the only Western country who does that. That's what I think.
We're the
people fail
only
to
country
understand.
big enough to have to worry about that shit.
But Australia is a continent and is larger in space than us.
It's not about
Russia?
the size of the country.
Russia?
China's a bigger country
China?
too, but China is communist for one.
In name only.
But I mean, like their
Okay,
system
Russia
is essentially
democratic. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Democratic Russia. But like
Sure.
yes, let's. I mean,
Cosmopolitan and democratic Russia.
right, but these issues aren't quite the same as what we're talking about here in the United States because it's so different. Australia, while a big, huge piece of land, is not the same as the population of the United States, which has vastly different, humongous states inside of it.
Okay.
There's no state in Australia that is drastically different like California and Alabama are in the United States.
Except for if I am a person born in either of those states, should the way that my rights apply to me differ based on the fact that I was born in one place or another?
that already sort of happens.
I'm not asking if it sort of happens. I'm asking if it should happen. Your argument is yes, and it should happen more and more frequently and over more issues.
No,
and my
I'm
argument
not
is
saying-
it should not.
I'm saying that there should be federal laws, which we've already decided upon many.
Sure.
And there should be federal decisions as to whether or not something is right in a Supreme Court-like setting. But in the meantime, if there's something that has flexibility inside the law, we should allow local jurisdictions and states to figure it out for themselves.
Right. So again,
So I mean,
if
like
I am a
right now,
15-year-old
right now,
in San Francisco, I have different rights than if I'm a 15-year-old in Birmingham.
yes, but that's the case already.
But I am trying to form a more perfect union. You are trying to destroy the union and arguing that somehow this Republican Party does not represent you. The Republican Party as it stands now does not represent you.
Right.
And yet you are doing exactly what this Republican Party is trying to do.
No, I'm not doing
and I'm
that.
trying to understand how that's the case.
No, absolutely not. What I'm saying is that there are going to be. So take it for this. In San Francisco, there are taxes and laws that don't apply to somebody who would live in California or live in Alabama. Can we agree on that?
Okay. If you're going to move in some taxation nonsense, it's not the same thing. I'm talking about rights. Rights.
Yes.
Personal rights, not taxation.
But what rights that I mean, you're not going to get past the fact that the number
right
of people
to marry the person who I am in love with.
Yes.
Is that different if I am an 18-year-old
that's been
in San Francisco
decided.
than...
That's been decided at a Supreme Court level.
No, it hasn't.
Yes, it has.
No, it hasn't.
It happened. We talked about it on the. It was the same time that they did the Obamacare was legal.
Okay. And
A marriage that happens in any state that allows for legalized gay marriage should be recognized by
Right.
every single state. That was decided.
If I am 18...
Roberts was the deciding vote on that one.
If I am 18 in the city of Birmingham and I am in love with a man, can I get a marriage certificate for me and him to get married?
No.
So The law applies differently.
Because 95% of the people who live in Alabama said they didn't want that.
Except for 72% of the people in the country agree that that's the way that it should be.
Yes, then pass a national law that says that gay marriage is legal in every single state, and then deal with the consequences in every state as it happens. That's...
But again, so you're arguing against states' rightsism. That's what I'm not understanding.
No.
Say that
What I'm saying is that there has to be federal laws which take care of the entire country as a whole, right?
I don't think you have a good concept of what you even want.
I do have a concept. I want to fix the problems that are getting in the way of.
What's the problem?
What is the problem
that you want to fix?
So, okay,
idea problem.
Take gay marriage as one, as we have it right now, right?
Sure.
Right now, every single state can decide whether or not they want to allow marriage licenses to gay couples.
Sure.
And generally speaking, because of the Supreme Court ruling, even if you live in a state that has not allowed to issue marriage licenses to gay couples, you still have to recognize that marriage as valid.
Right. So you can travel
regardless.
to another state, get married, and come
so
back.
So I can go to California, I can come back to Alabama.
Yeah.
If you want to change Alabama's laws, then you have to be an Alabama voter. You have to reach out to your people about changing the law. If you think that Alabama should not allow for gay marriage licenses because that's how the population of Alabama has decided to take it, then we should respect their right to do it. But we shouldn't respect their right to treat gay couples any differently than straight couples, or we shouldn't say that the marriage license that was issued in California is not valid in Alabama because there's a federal law accepting it.
Perfectly
now,
fine.
As soon as we have all those issues aside, we can decide on a state level whether or not we want to make an issue of it. Alabama, at some point, as gay relationships and gay marriage become more accepting over the many years of which we've had decades to accept the fact that this is a proven part of life, then at some point, Alabama will have a group of people who will rise up and say, we look like fucking idiots because we do not allow for gay marriage in this state. Let's change it. And if the Republican members of the state house or the governor or the state senate or any of those people decide that they're not going to be okay with licensing gay marriage, then they're going to get voted out and replaced by somebody who will.
Okay. So
and that's called change.
If you live in Alabama.
So if you want Alabama to change, you want them to be able to decide for themselves.
Okay.
And it's not going to happen overnight.
I get it. They should be able to decide for themselves. So if a black person is born in California, they are born free. When they come to Alabama, their freedom must be recognized. However, a black person may be born into servitude in the state of Alabama. That would be an acceptable law.
That's not something that we're dealing with anymore.
No, you are saying the people should locally be able to make the decision for themselves. So what if the state of Alabama said, you know what? Slavery, that's something we're missing out on. Let's go back to it. So if your skin is greater than this tone, or if we can trace your ancestry back to this person, then you are taken back into slavery right now.
Except that's in violation of the Constitution.
Okay. Well, by the Supreme Court decision, all of these laws you're talking about are violative of the Constitution. And the whole point of states' rightism is that the Constitution fails to the will of the locality. That's the point. You don't understand states' rightism, and you're arguing a half measure. You're arguing that the Constitution controls. But if the Constitution's a little wishy-washy, then they just should be able to decide locally.
The Constitution isn't wishy-washy on it.
It's not wishy-washy on what?
On slavery being over?
I'm not talking about...
On the end of slavery? God. I mean, like, what are you talking... That's an issue that was...
Either the states get to decide,
yes,
or the federal government rules. That is how it works.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
All right.
I'm talking about there being a...
We're not going to settle this week. Let's just call it for there, because you don't understand how you are not even making a set argument here.
What do you mean?
States' rightism. What is states' rightism?
In the version of it that you're thinking about.
No, in the version that you're making up on the spot that no one else in the country believes in.
No.
That somehow
we're talking about a spectrum. We're talking about a spectrum here.
You're the spectrum of a Republican Party that doesn't represent you, but only kind of represents you. I understand. Hold on. It's fine.
If you asked a Democrat, should the federal government decide every single issue on every single locality from the federal level, what would they say?
Most of them would say no.
Most of them would say no, but they would say that, oh, in certain issues, I would like the federal government to be in charge of
When
it.
it comes to rights, when it comes to certain unalienable rights.
Yes, that's already happening.
Yeah.
So we separate those apart, and then we
like
figure
gay
out
marriage. Like
No.
whether what you can do with your body or not. A right should apply equally to everyone, no matter where they are. Which is why I use those two examples.
And Roe, as of right now, before Kavanaugh comes in and ruins the whole thing, is keeping states from banning abortion outright. They have
But your argument is that once Roe is gone, that states should be able to do that.
Because
that a woman born in
Alabama
is different than a woman born in California.
If you want,
and I'm saying that you don't understand states' rights. If you think that Roe matters,
I'm saying if you want to change how abortion is legislated across this country, then get rid of have something overturned that sends it back to the states. Because that will change it quicker than anything will.
No, it won't. No,
yes,
it will absolutely
yes,
not.
Yes, it will.
It will not. Poor women will die for an entire generation getting back alley abortions before anything gets changed.
I'm not.
And again, this is why being states' rights, a states' rights supporter, makes you anti-poor and anti-people of color and anti-women.
No.
And basically, any protected group.
Stand up to the people who work in your state.
So you're asking these protected groups to stand up against the white male majority that runs their state. And now they don't even have the protection of the federal government that you're removing because states should be able to decide.
So take it like this. All right. So over the last 3 decades, how has the opinion of marijuana legalization changed?
None. Not at all.
It's not at all.
Absolutely
bullshit.
not.
It was 30 years ago. It was an issue that maybe 20% of the.
That is absolutely untrue. In 1977, Jimmy Carter nearly legalized it. It was nationally 70% support for legalization. It has remained basically 70% support for legalization.
That's not true at all.
It's state by state has legalized it as we've gone along. Support amongst the people has stayed basically the same, and it's still prohibited federally.
It has
Jimmy Carter nearly legalized it in 1977. It has stayed the same.
It hasn't stayed the same. It has gone more progressively towards the idea of legalization over the decades.
People, when it comes to a personal level, what you're talking about on the local level, the vote of an individual person, it has remained high all the way throughout. Only the most extreme conservatives think that marijuana needs to be illegal. Prohibition federally remains, so nothing has changed. It's from 1977 until now.
That's not true. I remember specifically when Clinton was on the campaign trail for his when they asked him has he ever used marijuana and he said he didn't inhale. You remember that one?
Yeah.
I remember watching the news that night where they talked about the latest poll that had gone out in the field where 40-something% of people said that marijuana should be legalized. And now we're at like a 70% amount of people who want to see it legalized. It's been an issue that has consistently over the years gotten better and better.
So you're telling me that when Jimmy Carter was about to legalize it in 1977, he was legalizing it because 20% of people wanted it legal.
No, because he could recognize that the issue.
You have no command of facts. I need you to command facts better. It's 70% support in the 70s. That was the fact. It remains 70% support today.
Do you want me to look this up real quick?
All right, go ahead. Here we go. This is going to be very exciting for the people at home.
Watching us Google things. Support.
About 6 in 10 Americans support marijuana legalization. That's from 2010.
Yes. Okay, U.S. public opinion on legalizing marijuana. 1969, 12%. 1980, 30. 1990, 16. 2000, 31. 2010, 32. 2017, 61. This is from the Pew Research Group, by the way.
And I don't really...
Is that a good enough...
That's what I'm looking at is Pew, but Pew is also a conservative research tank.
All right. You need me to find a second.
Find one that's not Fox News, which are the first ones hit. For the first time, a majority of Republicans support marijuana.
Yeah.
All right, I'm hot. I'm tired. Let's go. Let's get done with this.
Okay. Well, I guess if you want to find a place where we argue more, you can go to otheanthem.com, Cory to otheanthem.com, O The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line 443-219-7595.
What's the number again?
443-219-7595. And you can find more of me at my website, CoryBakerFilmmaker.com, my Facebook page at Cory Baker Film, at LegendCB5 on Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat. And check out this week when I release the My Road Reel version of Heaven is Full of All Your Favorite Dogs, which will be my new short film coming out this week.
It's a really long title, though, by the way.
It's a working title.
And, of course, you can find me on all your social networks at Robert and Cheek. Make sure you check out robertandcheek.com where you can find links to political blog, news website, and the books, which are available on Amazon. And make sure you check out
books.
Thank you.
Sorry.
And make sure you check out Wattpad where you can find a link to The Chair, the new story that's available right now.
Yep, and that'll be in the show notes as well. So
Absolutely.
if you want to go to otheanthem.com and find it, you can find it there.
Super.
Well, I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you're listening to the O The Anthem podcast, part of the O The Anthem digital network. For Cory, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
Just know that we still love you even when mommy and daddy fight.